episode 9 of the podcast. I am Roger Knowles and it is the 12th of October. I'm joined once again by Tom Simpson.
Hello.
And Daniel Twist.
Hey.
Just apologies for the lateness of the recording of the podcast, mainly due to the fact that last Wednesday we didn't have any available quiet spaces to do any of the recording, so we've had to push it forward today. How are you guys doing anyway?
Not too bad, thank you.
I'm alright, thanks.
Yeah, you been up to much, Tom?
No, at work. And I can't really remember anything else.
You say that every week.
I know, I really don't remember
What games have you been playing in this week?
Some Command & Conquer.
Because you played Command & Conquer earlier with Jeremy and Rog.
And I finished off Lost Planet 3.
How was Lost Planet 3? Was it... I know you at first, when you were about to start playing, you had mixed thoughts or a bit of apprehension about it.
I really enjoyed it, but it's very repetitive. So.
Mm-hmm. Is the storyline as good as you hoped it to be, or...?
They've sort of taken it a little bit more seriously compared to Lost Planet 1 and 2. It's not as daft. Mm-hmm. But that's probably because it's moved to a new studio, Spark.
Yeah. What was the multiplayer? Was that any good?
I didn't bother trying it because it wasn't supposed to be as good. Like, on all the other Lost Planets, there's these little like mech things you can get, and that made the multiplayer quite interesting. But I don't think they've had those in this one.
Alright, well, it's like we've been having a little bash on Command & Conquer with Tiberian Wars. Trying to touch a few mods out and stuff like that. We had a bit of a disaster last night, mainly because yours decided not to actually run.
Yeah, I need to fix that. I don't know what's wrong with
it. But what was the mods we tried out again?
Kane's Wrath Reloaded.
Which involved...
a lot of Kane's Wrath units, Tiberian Sun units, and Command & Conquer 4 units and stuff.
It got to me, some of the actual... I'm still getting used to some of the mods, but it was quite confusing, because there's obviously different advantages to different versions of the screen. I played the screen, and there were different advantages to them, like there was more aircraft on one, more ground troops on the other, and things like that.
They've added the sub-factions as well.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
But yeah, no, I haven't really been... I get a bit confused with that, but I really enjoyed the Red Alert mod that we put into it. Where you get the Russians and the Russians and Americans and...
Yeah, if it's Red Alert 3, it's the USA, Soviets and Japan.
Yeah, so that was quite an interesting mod. I enjoyed playing that. That was quite good fun.
I didn't really enjoy it. It was...
No, I quite enjoy it. I like playing as the Russians with the electrical thingy bobs.
Yeah.
Tesla coils.
The ones. I used to love those from Command & Conquer 1. Red Alert 1, should I say. That was good fun. Plus the old music as well, playing again, that was good.
I must admit I did enjoy the old music, like Red Alert 2.
Yeah, that was good. How about you, Dan? What have you been up to?
Again, not played much, but I have managed to play a bit, mainly just with the recent release of Pokemon X and Y.
That's been released actually today, but you did manage to get hold of it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Give us a quick rundown of it then, what do you think?
As a Pokemon fan, I'm where to put it. It brings a new concept to the way it's played. Obviously, instead of it being like a 2D world as you've used to with all the previous 5 generations, it's more properly 3D now.
Yeah.
So everything's 3D models and everything else, and then the new animations and all that, and the fact that with 6th gen, there's not a great deal more Pokemon. They've only put it's about 78 new Pokemon into the game or something.
How many are there now altogether? Because I still only remember the 151.
Yeah, as you say, the original 151 from 1st gen. And now with 6th gen, there is 719 Pokemon now.
Jesus Christ.
So,
how are they coming up with new Pokemon here? Seriously.
I think after the 1st generation, I didn't mind the 2nd generation look of them, the design of them, but after that they started looking a bit weird, really weird.
Some of them you were looking with, especially in 5th gen in Black and White and Black and White 2, obviously, it's saying, that's when you can tell they're running out of ideas. Oh, let's see, we're going to make a Pokemon which looks like a garbage bag, and we're going to call it Trubbish.
Yeah, that's just,
that's kind of just stupid. That's when they start running out of ideas.
I thought with the 1st and 2nd generation, they were looking at how, if say it was real and how they would sort of evolve and come to a point of being adaptable in the real world, or sort of something, sort of a bit adapted to the world that they're in.
Yeah.
Whereas now they're starting just to come up with ideas which just don't seem to work as well, or a bit comedic, like you say.
Yeah.
Or like I say, like a chair one or something like that, and they call it sit down, something like that.
Do you think
Actually, I can copyright that.
Do you think they're going to move on to Transformers or something?
Nah.
It just doesn't have the same sort of feel. Actually, one of my friends sent me a message about Pokemon Origins. New Pokemon TV series, actually, because I used to love the original cartoon series when I was younger, and it looks like they're going back to that and basing it upon the Pokemon Red and Blue games. So it's going to be quite different, bit of follow the games. I think it's only going to be like a 6-parter or something like that. But that looks quite cool. I got told, mate. And some of the classic original old game music as well is going to be in it.
But I say with Pokemon X and Y, it does actually have some of the original music in at certain points. But there is, like I said, brought new features to it, like the new Mega Evolution, which is pretty cool.
Is that when you force evolve them?
No, it's somewhat basically currently there's only a select few. So your original starters, so your Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, when they get up to their final evolution, so obviously Venusaur, this you only can do during a battle. Then it reverts back after the battle. So you kind of like Mega Evolution it in battle, so it gains certain strengths. So obviously Venusaur becomes Mega Venusaur.
Does it change its look at all?
Yeah, it changes variations. Except Venusaur's not a great variation change. It's literally same, bigger with a bigger tree.
Oh, right. Well, that's fair.
Then Blastoise, Mega Evolution, which obviously again is just called Mega Blastoise, which it looks awesome. You know, Blastoise has its two cannons. This time it's got one massive one on its shell and two on its
that's pretty
on its wrist.
Nice
so it's like
they are doing like variants of the original ones as well, and not just doing it with the new
and then
ones
obviously again you've got Charizard, which that actually has 2 forms. Depends if you get X or Y. So you can either have Mega Charizard Y, which is literally standard Charizard, but with like spiky wings and different like spiky everything else.
Yeah.
And then you've got Mega Charizard X, which they finally decided, we're going to give Charizard a dragon type, so we made it fire and dragon, and it's black with like flames.
That sounds pretty cool.
On it.
I got told me that.
So,
no, it's an interesting sort of format they're going. I've had a little, very brief little go on your 3DS when you brought it around.
Yeah.
Like you said, 3D only really works in the battle.
Yeah, battle scenes.
But in the environment, it doesn't. It's just standard 2D.
Yeah.
I've never actually ever played on a 3DS, and it's the first time I've done it. And within that, literally 30 seconds to a minute, my eyes already started hurting.
It does strain quite a bit playing it 3D if you're not used to it.
But it looks good. It looks like it's sticking to the similar sort of format. I'm just waiting for an actual full-on 3D world of Pokemon. I'm still looking forward to that. I know they did sort of do one on the GameCube, I think, a while back.
You're on about Pokemon Colosseum.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
XD, Gales of Darkness.
There was one which you could walk around. It could have been that one, actually, Darkness thingy.
Yeah, but, well, you had Pokemon Colosseum, then you had Pokemon XD, Gales of Darkness.
Yeah. But I'm actually just wanting the Pokemon game, but in a full 3D environment and quite interesting artwork and stuff like that. I'd like to see that in a console, but no, enough about Pokemon anyway. I've pretty much been playing, say, Call of Duty? No, Command & Conquer. Call of Duty anymore. Command & Conquer with Tom, and I've had a little go on Flashback, which I'm just doing a bit of a recording of at the moment, which is a HD sort of reboot remake. It's had to sort of describe it, of the 1993 Flashback, which came out for the SNES and a couple of other consoles back then, which is one of my sort of like old favourites back in the day. I used to play that tons when I was younger. Been playing that one, and I don't think I've really been playing a huge. And of course Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah, you Grand Theft Auto
the absolute.
With the slight troubles you've had as well.
Yeah, I've had a lot of problems with it, obviously, with the same as everybody else. We're trying to create characters, and characters have been deleted. I ended up creating about 7 or 8 characters in the end, and then finally I've got the last one. But it seems that everything seems to have ironed itself out now. It's still a couple of bugs here and there, but it is a very, very good game. I'm enjoying it tons. In fact, to a point where I've actually come away right from the single-player version of the game and just playing online solely. No, it's very good. I'm enjoying it. It's basically Grand Theft Auto online. It's good fun. Certainly enjoying it. You get a bit addicted to trying to earn as much cash as possible and hunting down bounties on people. It'd be interesting to see when they add more and more things to it, and like new islands and new mechanics, stuff like that, and how much of a online experience it'll become. I can see it almost becoming in the form of a MMO.
What's the play count at the moment on it?
How many people are on it?
Well, how many people do like a game session? Is it?
It's still 16 people.
Still 16.
16 people, as far as I know. Yeah, it's not a huge amount of people, but in all honesty, you don't need that many people on it because everybody does start flocking to each other, especially when someone's got a bounty and you mark up on everybody's map and everybody starts running for you, which is quite cool. Especially if you've got like a 10 grand bounty on someone, you can start hunting them down, and that's a hell of a lot of money just by killing one person, and it automatically gets sent straight to you. There's no picking up anything or anything like that. But no, that's quite good fun. It's also quite funny to troll people as well. Just constantly keep killing them over and over and over and over and over and over again. Especially when they spawn, once they die not far away, so you can just run them over again. But other than that, no, I haven't really been playing much else, in all honesty. So let's crack on with the news. So first up in the news is Activision Blizzard finally completes its buyback from Vivendi, or separation from Vivendi, however you want to put it. This was going through about a couple of months ago now, and it was all pretty much finalised and sorted, but then a few of the shareholders decided to file a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard, which held up the whole transaction and everything like that. But as soon as the judge has cleared it and allowed it to go through, it has basically gone straight through. Just wanted to comment on it mainly because we brought it up in a couple of other podcasts. So it looks like that Activision have finally separated from it and free to go along however they wish, which is good news for the World of Warcraft subscribers, because there's no company which is holding them back financially. You guys got anything to put on this? You're an ex-World of Warcraft player, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah, I played World of Warcraft back in time. Played it from BC through Wrath at Lich King, through Cataclysm, then played a month of Mr. Pandarian. I haven't really played it since, but probably go back to it. But this is the first I've heard of this happening, actually. Because I knew Activision and Blizzard were one company, but then obviously they kind of like split or something, then got back.
Yeah, it was how Vivendi actually retained some of the shares of the actual company, and unfortunately Vivendi was in some financial trouble. Basically that was the problem, and Activision were trying to get themselves away from Vivendi, and that was the case. But then some of the Vivendi shareholders thought that they were getting the bad end of the deal of it, basically Blizzard and Activision were earning a crap load of money that they don't want to be separated from such a financial gain of shares, so that's why they weren't so happy. But anyway, I get very confused when it comes down to shares. And I'm not brilliant when it comes to economics and stuff like that. But
if you had so much the percentage of shares of a company, when they make money, you get that percentage as well.
It being an end all of it all is that basically Blizzard, Activision Activision Blizzard, should I say, are in a much better position now. And now, I think the quote was saying that, with the completion of this transaction, we open a new chapter in the history of Activision Blizzard, Kotick said in a statement. So, all in all, it's good news for Activision Blizzard. Anyway, I'll straight on to the next news, is that PlayStation 4 controller will work with the PC at launch, with the basic functions. So such as the vibration of the controller won't be working and things like that, but the simple plug in and play, which is good for the PlayStation 4. However, the Xbox One controller will not be compatible with the PC at launch and will be available to use on the PC at some point in 2014. Obviously you guys love the Xbox 360 with a passion. What's your opinion upon this?
No, I like the controller with a passion.
Sorry, the Xbox 360 controller with a passion.
That's for Tom only.
But what is your guys' opinion on this, with the PlayStation 4 being compatible straight away?
I don't really feel anything. I'm biased towards it. I think it's a good idea because, say, if people have got a PS4 and they don't have an Xbox 360 controller, it means they can just use a controller.
Do you think it's almost like an added investment into the PlayStation 4, you mean?
I don't know.
But what I mean is, like, what I'm confused about is that why, seems that Microsoft are Microsoft, and PCs, Microsoft, Xbox One, Microsoft, why their controller isn't going to be working with the PC at launch?
Because Microsoft will probably do what Microsoft do. We're going to get more money out of you. If you want to use your controller on PC, you pay us. I don't think so.
Well, no, I don't think they'll do that. It's just, I just think it's badly organised.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because I said, how did you have to connect your Xbox 360 control to the PC anyway? You could either, if you had a wireless control, how did you connect it? Ooh, you have to go out and buy an Xbox receiver for your PC, which costs you £15. Ooh, look, we've made money for you to use your control on the PC.
I guess they got to admit that's it's just, it seems that Microsoft sections of the company seem to be all pointing in the wrong direction, and occasionally they might see each other in a meeting or something like that and catch up, but it doesn't seem that they ever seem to be communicating with each other at any point. So obviously you do prefer the Xbox 360 to be used controller on the PC.
Yeah.
Now you've got mixed reviews on the PlayStation 4 because we've been looking at some images today of it. PlayStation 4 controller, and been looking at some images of it. What puts you off about the PlayStation 4 controller to the Xbox 360 controller?
The positioning of the thumbsticks and the triggers.
Positioning of thumbsticks and triggers.
And the shape.
Well, because I agree with the thumbsticks, but triggers-wise, not particularly. Because obviously, as before I got the Xbox and that, I played on PS2, so I was using thumbsticks as they were. Obviously, I have Sony kept it. But then I adapted to, I got an Xbox, and I was first like, I don't like the way the Xbox has set out thumbsticks, but then I've slowly adjusted, and I actually find that better than the Sony control.
So do you think you would adapt back to the Sony controller, like you said you adapted to the 360 one, or?
I have played on a PS3 using the thumbsticks, but it just doesn't feel natural. But obviously, as not a big Sony fan, I think it won't bother me. Like, if someone said, "Oh, do you want to play on PC multiplayer games? Here's a controller," I'd be like, "Fine, I'll use it." But it won't be like using it forever. Like, so say I'm not a Sony fan.
They will bring out modded controllers eventually.
You were on about this when you were saying that you'd like to almost have the PlayStation 4 controller put into an Xbox 360 controller.
It happened with the PS3 and 360. Some people swapped out the insides of the PS3 controller and transplanted it into a 360 controller, keeping the 360 buttons and thumbsticks. Apart from they swapped the A, X, Y and B buttons for X, square, triangle and circle, which I thought were pretty cool.
Alright. I personally like the look of the controller. It looks like they're moving forwards rather than like the PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 controllers were identical. Sorry, yeah, PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 were all identical.
Well, not really with the PS1.
Oh,
because it was PS2 when they introduced analogs.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Some PS1 controllers.
Yeah, some PS1.
I did have a
analog.
PS1 analog controller.
Yeah, but something
the original didn't, but I did get the updated one. But then the PlayStation 2 one came out, got that one. Same with the PlayStation 3. But it's finally that they've started to make it a bit of an adjustment and make some tweaks and changes. I've not actually had a go with it, but I've heard some good stuff about the PlayStation 4 controller, especially with the actual analog sticks, the feel of them. But no, it does look good. I'm interested in something. You said you'd read something, or I've seen a video, Tom, about where if someone switches over in the room, that the actual sides, if it's split screen, will change.
It detects it, yeah. It'll detect it and swap over the screen or adjust it accordingly.
Which is quite cool. So the
really
traditional all passing your controllers over to each other.
Yeah, because I can't remember if it's the PlayStation 4 or it might be the Xbox One, but one of them can detect the person that's sitting in the room. I don't know if it's the one with the PS4i or...
I think it may be with the Xbox One, but it sounds like that.
It doesn't matter which controller you have because it always knows who's who.
Yeah. Obviously, the Kinect is obviously going to be certainly implementing such mechanics as that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the PlayStation 4i will be doing something similar. Possibly. You know, you never know. But I can't remember. It sounds very much Kinect-y. That does to me.
Well, I think with the idea of if it's something on the PS4, obviously the PS4 is wireless, so it'll detect, right, this controls player 1. So if it's moved, it'll, like, if it kind of like does a detection to the screen, it might just swap. If if it's horizontal split, just switch screens around. So
Yeah,
play one move.
it basically sounds like they're trying to remove some of the little niggly problems which which came with, you didn't even think much about them before, you just sort of dealt with it sort of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, carrying on with the discussion of controllers, Steam or Valve have actually released footage and images of their new controller, which will be coming out for the Steam OS. I keep getting it wrong.
Yeah, it's a Steam OS and it's app.
The various Steam machines. So
Machines, which I think they're doing a beta for them, and they're going to choose 500 people, and then send out different versions of the actual Steam OS machines out, send them out different versions, different levels of them. They said that they're not going to release any images of the boxes at this present moment because they're not ready. Well, they are ready, but they're not how they are, what they want them to look like. So even possibly the boxes they send out for beta possibly won't look like how they will in the final product. They're basically just test machines. That's all they are.
I think it's a fantastic idea because it's practically bringing PC to the living room.
Yeah, I would say one thing I've got to admit, you guys play a lot more PC games than you do consoles. I play a kind of a 50-50 split. Is this something that interests you?
I'm quite interested to see what the Steam OS will be like because it's free. It's made for gamers. The only thing is when it.
You mean like the UI? Sorry, of the actual.
I mean everything about it.
I mean the free bit. Sorry, the UI. Not the actual box. You're gonna obviously have to pay for.
No, I mean the operating system.
Oh, the operating system.
Yeah, it's a free operating system. Well, as far as I know, it's free anyway. But I want to see how it compares to Windows 7 with drivers and setups and stuff.
Well, I don't think it's going to actually be a PC
I don't
format.
think
you won't actually be able to. It'll just basically be console for Steam. So it's going to be very much like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. So it's going to be their own version. So when you turn it on, it'll just take you straight to Steam. There's no
big picture.
There's no desktop or anything like that. It's going to be straight to Steam. It's just basically all it is a Steam player.
Is that what it says on the internet?
As far as I know, yeah. It's just their operating system, basically.
So it's not working. Tom was saying it's not going to be. Because he said it's going to be like Windows 7, but as you said, I doubt it. Like I said, goes like play to straight to Steam.
So
bit like the current one that they've kind of got, but it's basically Steam big picture.
Yeah.
So it's basically it'll bring you to that.
Yeah, it'll take you. Basically, we keep saying basically all the freaking time. Sorry. It'll take you to the what's it called again?
It's just
picture.
literally big picture. As you open up your Steam, it says
I've been on
big
it about
picture.
once, but I obviously with the PC version of it, I just use the standard Steam unit.
I was going to say, coincidentally, if you have your Xbox controller turned on, you press the guide button, it brings up big picture.
Does it?
I haven't actually noticed that. To be honest.
I didn't realise that. Let's try that. But yeah, it's just going to be their version of a console almost, but it's going to be different levels. So you're going to have the lower end version of it, and then the middle end and the upper tier version, and then obviously going to be priced accordingly. Rumours are that it's going to be more expensive than a general PC.
How much?
There probably will be if it's using gaming spec hardware.
Yeah, and like there is versions which will include the Titan, things like that.
That'll be nice. I mean, about $2,000.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know. What price would you be willing to pay for something like this, which would be a specific specified console to your sort of choosing?
Like, it really depends on what.
So seeing that obviously the Xbox One is 450,
400,
and then
it's
PS4 is
430.
going to be 350.
Well, it's 350 for PS4 and 430
They're
for
bringing
Xbox
out
One.
loads of different machines at different levels, so there'll be cheaper ones.
But what level would you be willing to pay? Would you say that that's a reasonable price for it?
It really depends on what's in your wallet.
It depends on what they're classing as a low end.
Right.
If you're doing tiers, what they're classing as their low end to mid end.
That's true. I guess if you start going into all the hardware sort of aspects of it, you guys probably would be looking more at what's involved in the machine, where a lot of people might just be looking at the price.
I reckon maybe 500 quid will be towards the lower end of their budget.
Lower end. And then high end, you're thinking maybe 900?
No, I'm probably going to go into the thousands there, maybe $2,000.
Really?
I don't.
If it's including a Titan, they're 900 quid each, and then you got everything else to put in there.
I don't. Well, let's say there's no actual confirmation of like any kind of estimated prices to read.
No, that's what I mean. It's purely just speculation.
So,
what we're thinking, really.
Depends, like I say, depends on how the day rail. So it could go ranging from, I'd say, both from 400 up to $1,000 plus.
Mm-hmm. So it's certainly going to be very ranging. It's going to be interesting how they go with it, and hopefully, I think it'll be good. See, I look at it also is that with the Steam having so many sales, and the sales get pulled across into this OS system, well, even if you pay more on the console, you're probably going to end up saving more money back on the games anyway.
There is a problem here. A lot of Steam games aren't controller compatible, so it'll be interesting to see how to deal with all that.
Yeah, well, again, with going back to the controller system of it, it looks like an owl because there's no actual analog sort of. Well, it's just something that was really weird.
It is. To be
the controller looks like an owl.
Yeah. But the actual
chunky handles as well.
What would you call the circles?
Trackpads.
Trackpads. Thank you.
Yeah, it's basically.
You
started a video. Damn you, Roger.
Dad, what are you trying to say?
Basically, Roger, I'm trying to say, basically, it's just round trackpads, basically. You know, you move your thumbs, basically.
Well, actually,
trackpads will also follow the WAS and D keys on the left.
Yeah.
They will, so even if it's not actually, if the game isn't compatible with a controller, this will still technically work. Because on the right side is your mouse, and on the left side is your
WASD
thank you. I keep looking down the keyboard. WA and SD keys. So if you move up, down, left, right, that will actually trigger those buttons.
Maybe that big bar on the bottom's the space bar.
Actually, that would be There's actually 3 buttons at the bottom. There's one that could be a space bar in the centre.
One could be escape, and one could be enter.
That would make sense actually. And then obviously you got your X and Y,
A and B. So basically, they've kind of put Xbox bolt onto it.
And the X and Y is actually on the left-hand side of the controller, rather than all the buttons being on the right.
If you look underneath the right handle, there's like a button on the side at the back. What is that? One of the triggers?
Where we're looking, sorry.
Yeah, be a trigger.
No. The bottom.
Oh, you're talking about the control.
In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to, in the show notes, I'll put something at the bottom underneath this video on the AlwayzGamezTV website and show this image up because we're presently looking at this now. And also it has a bit of a centre touchscreen with the
so you got like messages
symbol.
And your settings by the look of it as well.
Looks of it, yeah. It looks interesting. What do you think to the shape of it overall?
The shape, it's a bit. By first looks, I'd say the holding control. Obviously, you hold it as you would normally, but it seems like it's going to be a bit chunky by the look of it.
Now, do you think they've gone for looks or ergonomic?
God knows, but I say it looks chunky. Then obviously, as you stated this earlier before we actually started, with the X and Y being on your left side, you'll have
to use your left thumb to use those buttons.
Yeah.
But I never like taking my thumb off the analog of this trackpad.
Yeah.
It's different. I'm glad that they're making steps to do something different because controllers like we just looked at the PlayStation 4 is very the samey. You know what I mean? And they haven't really taken any steps forward. And this looks like they're taking a vast step forward and possibly some risks with this. But if they manage to get some PC good drivers for it or anything like we do with the OS, which games can automatically sort of instantly be linked to this, even if an early version where it is just the WAS and D keys system, just for the time being, and then later on as the weeks go on, someone then comes up with a system, okay, we've mapped it out now, no problem, it'll work even better. It's going to be interesting. And I am extremely interested to give it a go. So if one of you guys would like to buy one, I'll happily come round and have a go.
How about you buy Roger? We come round.
In other news as well, with the Rockstar messing up the GTA Online launch with a couple of technical hiccups, and me basically tearing my hair out and throwing my controller around the room, they're going to compensate online players by giving them 500,000 in-game credits, money, dollars, whatever you want to call it, GTA Simillions or whatever. This is not external money, of course. This is in-game money.
That'd be awesome. Every external player gets $500,000. Yes,
I'd be very happy.
Set for life.
It's going to be in two instalments of 250,000, as far as I know, and it will happen at some point in the month of October. I'm a little bit concerned, mainly because I guess there is an economic system within the game that you earn money to spend money on items such as upgrading your car, buying garages, buying apartments, upgrading your guns, betting, things like that. Well, if everybody's got 500,000 each, it kind of not spoils it, but kind of ruins the idea of having to earn lots of money.
What if they patch it and make everything really expensive?
Yeah.
Don't say that. Please don't. I played for about 4 days straight. Quite after work, came home, turned it on, had a bash with. I've got a crew set up, AlwayzGamezTV crew, and it gives you more rewards for doing it with your crew, sort of thing, your missions, and playing solidly. I think I've earned overall about over 100,000, but then I've spent like 60,000, so I'm about 50k at this present moment. Yes, you can earn it pretty quick, but 500,000 is still a lot. I'd have been happy to be given 100,000. In all honesty, it really would have been better, and it wouldn't have been over the top, yet still feeling rewarded for putting up with the problems, if you know what I mean.
But I'd say with they're giving every player 500,000, but like I said, they're doing it into 2 payments. But as you said, there's an economic system, and it'd be pointless going out and doing missions and that at first, because obviously, I have money, let's just go spend things.
Well, let's go and shoot some people.
I know, right?
Your luxury apartments, I'm really wanting, is like, I think it's like 210,000, something like that, 250,000. Well, if I know I can get that straight away, and I don't have to buy an apartment because I've got the best one, I'm like, yeah, done.
So obviously,
nothing to aim for.
When you get that, when obviously it's in 2 payments, that goes to your like so-called bank. Not to your character.
No, it should.
When you go deposit, someone just runs up and steals it.
Yeah, I was playing it. We mentioned this last time about how people could steal your money and stuff like that. It doesn't really happen because if you get shot, you only drop like 100, and then 100 is deducted. And I think you get if you die a few times or something like that, you may get fined. So you drop a little bit more money, but you don't actually drop it physically on the ground. It just deducts it, and then you still drop 100. If you know what I mean. So you can't kill. If you have 5,000 and someone shoots you, you're not gonna lose all 5,000. You'll just get. I think I got deducted 2,000 at one point, but I only dropped 100 for them. So it's more of a. As soon as you complete a mission, get into a hiding spot and just bank it, so that you just don't chance of losing it. You're not going to lose it to anyone. You just lose it to the void of the game, sort of thing. But yeah, next on was a game which I'm really looking forward to for the next gen is Destiny. And they've just announced that if you pre-order Destiny, you will get access and receive admission to the Destiny beta. Did anybody seen any footage of Destiny?
Yay, Bungie!
Bungie!
I saw a few seconds, so I should probably go and look at a video right now.
It reminds me, well, a lot of people disagree with me, but it reminds me personally of a mixture between something a bit like Borderlands mechanic and what was the other one? Borderlands and something else. Something like that.
Can you do me a very brief rundown of what it's like?
All the footage I've seen is, imagine your first-person shooter. It's a sci-fi set on possibly another planet, or no, it's set on Earth, but in the future.
Like Halo.
Bit like Halo, yeah. With the similar sort of mechanic system of Borderlands, so you'll take on bosses with other people, or shoot up and they'll drop items, and you collect them up, and you can upgrade guns.
Okay.
It's hard to describe without looking at game footage. It just looks really, really cool.
Is it like Borderlands, the Halo Chronicles crossed with COD?
We're going to say more. What was that game you're looking forward to in PlayStation 4? First person shooter?
Killzone.
Killzone.
Yeah.
A bit like a blend of all their sort of. Imagine all them mashed up into one online.
It'll be like Mario.
Not like Mario.
Because what I've heard of Destiny, I don't know if it is, but people have been saying it's basically like another variation of Halo, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Halo was good.
Shut up.
Halo was very good. Halo 1 was amazing, and these are like the 4-5ers that made Marathon and all that. So new
another
stuff
sci-fi
coming from them. I think it's going to be fantastic.
It does look really cool.
Did you say it's coming out on PC as well?
Pardon?
You say it's coming out on PC?
I double check actually.
Well, check see what the beta's coming out on.
Because
I think the game's coming out on
all
3 platforms.
See, no, I don't know what I get it on, PS4 or PC.
I get it on. I'll probably get it on PC. Because I said as a PC gamer, but it all depends though.
You guys keep talking. I'm just gonna look this up. Destiny launch.
No, by look of it, it's
hardware.
PS4 and Xbox 360. By look of it.
Look on Destiny wiki.
Now, in the Destiny trailers, there's this big orb hovering above the planet, kind of like a Forerunner artifact. Actually, I think that's going to play a rather large role in Destiny.
It does look like the latest trailer actually had to do with the moon and things like that, which looks quite cool. Yeah, but the launch platforms will be PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. Doesn't say anything about PC, unfortunately.
PS4 is there?
PS4, yay!
Xbox.
Actually, you just said today that you were actually going to get a PS4.
Yeah, I went back on my word and said I'm going to get a PS4.
Like I said to you before, you've gone up in my books, sir. Well done.
Not
that I'm biased. Yeah, everybody knows that if you
Xbox
listen to the
One.
podcast, I am extremely biased when it comes to PlayStation 4
Yeah, I don't
and
know why.
Xbox One.
That's why we have other people who enjoy the other consoles.
Yeah, true.
Counterbalance.
I tried to, I do try and see both sides of it, but I'm just a Sony fanboy, so I do apologise.
So we've got Roger, the Sony fanboy, me, Daniel, who's the Xbox fanboy, and Tom, who's just a mixture.
Mixture, but mainly PC though, are you?
I like, yeah.
Anyway, is that it on the news? That's it on the news. One thing I didn't actually bring up was the death of Tom Clancy, which was on the 1st of October. It wasn't announced how he died or anything like that, but I don't think that's really important. All it is that it's quite a big hit to, I think, military stories. I think he was a great inspiration to a lot of present day films, books and video games. As obviously as a video game sort of aspect of it, he had his name put to a lot of variant games and franchises.
Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six,
And they made
Splinter Cell.
quite a few of his books into films as well.
Yes, they did. What we're going to do today is a bit of a special podcast, a bit of a thing for Tom Clancy. We're going to do a quiz actually on some of his things that he's done. So I've sat down and wrote some questions up this last week, so it's going to be you guys are going to be answering. So it's basically going to be our own version of a pub quiz.
No.
And it's going to take an aspect of his books, the films, and eventually video games as well. So
Well, that's me and Tom.
I just think it would be a nice little thing to do, being Tom Clancy. And I want to implement more quiz elements as the podcasts go along and do them themed and things like that. So I thought this would be a really nice start, actually, and a little bit of a homage to Tom Clancy and do. Plus you might learn something as well. So anyway, let's crack on with the quiz. I've got notes.
God,
I forgot to look that up.
I've been busy.
You've been busy, alright.
I have the excuse. University.
Whoever loses has to buy the next round once we go for a night out.
That won't be me for a while then.
In the
Yes!
in that really crappy pub that's really expensive.
Okay. Starting off the Tom Clancy quiz, if you want to give an answer, just shout your own name out, and then I'll know that, because the idea is whoever's going to be for the first buzzer, and I don't have any buzzers, so just shout Tom if you want to answer, or shout Dan if you want to answer, okay? So, first question. Tom Clancy has written 19 books to date, with number 20 being Command Authority, releasing this December. How many were New York Times bestsellers?
Tom.
Go on.
Hey, 12.
12? Dan?
I'll go for 9.
Actually, Tom's closest with 17
Wow.
bestsellers out of the 19. So the new one is actually coming out in December, which is, like I said, the Command Authority. So he didn't even see the release of this book, even though he's written it. It's quite sad, really.
Yeah.
Basically, a little backstory to Tom Clancy. In 1973, he joined the O.F. Bowen Agency, a small insurance agency based in Owings, Maryland? Oh, we got that right. Founded by his wife's grandfather in 1980, he purchased the insurance agency from his wife's grandmother and wrote the novels in his spare time. While working in an insurance agency, he wrote his first novel. What was the name of his first novel he wrote?
Daniel, The Hunt of the Red October.
Correct, it was The Hunt for Red October. Oh, are you reading the wiki?
Yes!
Ah,
We're
that don't count. Sorry guys, I actually had the wiki on my
come
screen.
on, dudes.
Oh,
I hate you all.
that don't count. Anyway.
I can't
hate
even
you.
read that screen.
Yeah, so Tom Clancy's literacy career began in 1982 when he started writing The Hunt for Red October, which in 1985 he sold for a publishing to a Naval Institute press for $5,000. The publisher was impressed with the work. Deborah Grosvenor? Again, I hope I got that name right. The Naval Institute press editor who read through the work said later that she convinced the publisher, "I think we have a potential bestseller here, and if we don't grab this thing, somebody else would," and considered that Clancy had an innate storytelling ability, and his characters had this... Sorry, I've totally got lost where I was. His characters had this very witty dialogue. The publisher requested Clancy to cut in numerous technical details amounting to about 100 pages. Clancy had wanted to sell the 5,000 copies, ended up selling over 45,000. After publication, the book received praise from President Ronald Reagan, calling the work "my kind of yarn," subsequently boosting sales to 300,000 hardcover and 2 million paperback copies of the book, making it a national bestseller. The book was critically praised for its technical accuracy, which led to Clancy's meeting with several high-ranking officers in the US military. Oh, I need a drink in a minute. So next question. Name the main fictional character that Tom Clancy created in his novels The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, and The Sum of All Fears, and were later created into films.
Oh, crap.
That name's just sticking in my mind now.
So, the main fictional character that was in all of those stories.
Burt Reynolds.
No, that's an actor.
I know. I don't know. I'm just going to shout out random stuff. Dan?
The name's getting my mind now.
Some of All Fears. I remember that film. Well, I don't, but I remember the name.
No. Jack Ryan was the main fictional character. And I just got sent a message. Next question. Can you name the actors that have played Jack Ryan in those movies?
Adam Baldwin.
Nearly.
The Baldwin guy.
I'll accept it, yeah.
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin played Jack Ryan in Hunt for Red October.
I can't remember. There's another guy as well. Yeah, I've forgotten.
I don't know either.
In Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger, Jack Ryan was played by Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I was about to say Harrison Ford. Yeah.
And in Sum of All Fears, he was played by Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
I think the actual score so far is 2-1. No, 2-0, I think, to Tom, on this one. Don't worry, at the end,
you don't allow me to have that one.
There's a bit of a chance that you could end up getting a lot more points. So it was Ben Affleck plays was in Sum of All Fears. A new Jack Ryan movie is scheduled for release on December the 25th this year. Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit is an upcoming American action thriller film directed by Kenneth Branagh, based on the character of Jack Ryan created by Tom Clancy. It is a 5th film in the Jack Ryan film series, and it also rebooted that departs from the previous installments. Unlike previous films in the franchise, it's not an adaptation of a particular Tom Clancy novel, but is instead an original story initially conceived by screenwriter Hossein Amani. I'm sorry, I do struggle with some of the names, Liam. Featuring the Jack Ryan character. Jack Ryan in this installment is portrayed by Chris Pine, who is famous for playing Captain Kirk in the recent Star Trek movies by J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it might be quite good.
Yeah, I hadn't actually seen much about this, but as I was reading up, I was like, oh, didn't realise that. So question, in 1996 Tom Clancy co-founded the video game developer Red Storm Entertainment, and ever since he has had his name on several of Red Storm's most successful games. Red Storm was later bought by a publisher. Which was that publisher?
There's loads of publishers.
Red Storm was later bought by a publisher. Also a well-known publisher.
Activision.
No. Who was that publisher?
Wait, like a book publisher or...?
No, this is the video games. Tom Clancy co-founded the video game developer Red Storm Entertainment, and they were bought out by a famous publisher, video game publisher.
What, Ubisoft with it?
It's correct, yeah, Ubisoft Entertainment. Ubisoft Entertainment continued to use Clancy's name through the extent of Clancy's actual involvement with the creation of the games and development of the intellectual properties, if any, was unclear. So we don't know how much Tom Clancy actually had involvement into Ubisoft's Tom Clancy games, but we're not too sure about that. A few of Tom Clancy's books were created into video games, such as Hunt for Red October, Red Storm Rising, Shadow Watch, and Sum of All Fears. But more recently, he would be more famous to the video games that would have his name attached to them. Right, this is where Dan can bring it back, because I want you to name as many different game titles that had his name linked to, not the franchises, each individual game. Now let me grab a pen. Right.
So basically we take it in turns to...
Yeah, we'll go back and forth. Right. Can you name as many as you can? Go on, Dan, I'll let you go first since you're losing.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Okay, yeah, that's one.
Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yeah, hold on, I need to take these off. Rainbow Six Vegas. I've got that one.
Rainbow Six Vegas 2.
Hold on, where is it? Okay, Rainbow Six Vegas.
And Rainbow Six Vegas 2.
That's...
Tom.
Patriots.
No what?
Patriots. It's a new Clancy game.
I don't have that one, but I'll accept it. Didn't realise that.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Conviction.
Okay, we could be here a while actually. Just start rattling them off if you can.
Chaos Theory.
Chaos Theory, yep.
Double Agent.
Ghost Recon.
Advanced Warfighter. Future Soldier.
Ghost Recon. What was the other one?
Future Soldier.
Future Soldier.
Advanced Warfighter.
Yeah.
Desert Storm. Desert Shield. No, that's not it, is it? I can't remember. There's.
No, actually, sorry. It was Jungle Storm and Desert Siege.
Oh, right. There was a Desert Storm one, wasn't there? That might have been.
That might. I think that's Conflict, right?
Conflict
Desert Storm.
Yeah.
I can't think of any more games. Because I can't think of the actual titles.
I think we might give this one to Tom.
He just racked them off.
Yeah. So
I think I managed to get about 3 or 4 out of there. Tom got like 6.
Yeah, I think we'll announce that as Tom, the Tom Clancy official winner. So you didn't actually do any research. Well done, Tom. Bring up some of the titles that you did mention.
He knows his games.
Yeah, we've got Tom Clancy Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Eagle Watch, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Urban Operations, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Covert Operations, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Takedown Missions in Korea, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Blackthorn, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six... There's a lot of Rainbow Six games.
Yeah, there is, yeah. And there's the new Rainbow Six Patriots.
Raven Shield, Black Arrow, Aethan Sword, Iron Wrath, Lockdown, Critical Hour, Vegas, like you said, Vegas 2, Shadow Vanguard, Patriots, and then moving on to the Ghost Recon, which was the Ghost Recon, Desert Siege, like you said, Island Thunder, like you didn't say, Jungle Storm, Ghost Recon 2, Ghost Recon 2 Summit Strike, and then we've got the Advanced Warfighter, Advanced Warfighter 2, Ghost Recon Predator, Ghost Recon Wii, Ghost Recon Shadow Wars, Future Soldier, Tom Clancy's End War, Tom Clancy's Hawks and Hawks 2, obviously you got the original Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, and then you said Chaos Theory, and then we've got Double Agent, like you said, Conviction and Blacklist, and also coming out in 2014 is Tom Clancy's The Division.
Yeah.
What was the other one you said then?
Patriots.
Patriots.
And they're also making, I think it's a Ghost Recon, and I can't remember if it's Splinter Cell or something. I mean, they're making a crossover game anyway.
Oh, right. I guess he's certainly put his name to a lot of things. Like I said, they're not entirely sure what involvement he had with the writing or development of the games, but he certainly influenced a lot of the modern sort of military and espionage and general agency stories, modern day stories really, with his books and the films which have been made from them. And I think it's going to be a massive loss to storytelling, I think, in all honesty, and it's very sad. But yeah, so thanks very much for listening to the quiz, and we'll move down onto the top 10 UK chart. Right then, starting with the UK Top 10 chart, giving you a rundown. At number 10 is Pro Evolution Soccer 2014. At number 9 is Just Dance 2014. At number 8 is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist. At number 7 is NBA 2K14. At number 6 is Disney Infinity. At number 5 is the Minecraft Xbox 360 edition. At number 4 is The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. At number 3 is F1 2013. At number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 5. And still in at number 1 is FIFA 14. Yeah, so there's a lot of new releases in the top 10 charts, such as the F1 game, Legend of Zelda, NBA 2K14 and Just Dance, but no present game which has already been released has not moved up in the top 10 UK chart. They've only either one stayed where they are or moved down. As more and more high-end releases come out, we're going to see probably a lot more of games moving down rather than up. You alright, Tommy? Like you're about to sneeze.
I'm fine.
Actually, Dan, you told me about Ratchet and Clank, which will...
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank into Nexus, which is due for release in November the 13th.
I have never been a massive Ratchet and Clank sort of player. My girlfriend was. She absolutely loved it. One of my friends was really into it. Plus the Jack and Daxter sort of similar sort of style.
Yeah.
They all made by the same companies? Or?
Don't think so, because Ratchet and Clank's done by Insomniac.
Oh, right.
But I don't know what Jack and Dexter was.
It's very much a franchise I don't really bother with the style of game.
Have you played Jack and Dexter?
My girlfriend, I've had a little bash on it.
Ratchet and Clank kind of runs off the same kind of style, so it's you and your partner. So it's like Ratchet's the main guy, then you've got Clank, which is your little robot friend. And you basically get a lot of weapons, which then, the more you use them, upgrade them by collecting bolts and that, and then become better, powerful, stronger. And so it's quite a good game.
I guess the actual HD Trilogy edition is actually free to download from the PlayStation Plus network at this present moment, and I downloaded it for the girlfriend and just got it on my PlayStation 3 for absolutely free. So that's quite cool. But it's certainly a franchise. Like I said, just doesn't appeal to me. I just don't play it. I don't really have the time to either. But so that's good news. So I guess I presume you're looking forward to that then.
Will be if I can get hold of it. Yeah, when my mate gets a PS4. Yeah.
I wonder which of the big shooters is going to get on top, Battlefield or Call of Duty.
Well, Battlefield is coming out on the 1st of November as far as I know, and Call of Duty coming out on the 5th of November. Like I said, I do need to go through my release charts and do a massive update on the AlwayzGamezTV website. What week is that? Are they both coming out in the same week technically then? 1st and 5th?
No, that's October you're looking.
October, yeah.
End of
Battlefield
week.
is going to come out on the 1st.
Which is a Friday.
And then Call of Duty is going to come out on the 5th. So we can guarantee that a Battlefield probably will be at number 1.
It's going to have a good weekend, put it that way.
So on the Monday, which will be the 4th, it'll probably be at number 1, and then Call of Duty will probably have the next week. And I think after that, then it's going to be a bit of a to-in and throw-in, I think. But no, I'm really interested to see how that does sort of play out. And the run down to Christmas and, to where it's going to be going. I'm interested to have a little go on Batman Arkham Origins, actually. I do like my Batman franchise. It is, the games. You guys never really played it?
I haven't played them.
I've got Batman Arkham City, but I've never installed it.
Oh. I didn't think too much to the Arkham City. I was a real big fan of Arkham Asylum because it was a little bit more enclosed, and you have to do a lot of backtracking, which I like to go back over areas I've already been to, but and see how they've changed as the game's gone on. And over time, Uncharted 1 did that a lot actually as well, and that was quite good. You would end up seeing where you'd previously been, but from a different angle, if you know what I mean. Like, I remember I was there 2 hours ago, sort of climbing up that wall, and now you were over on the other side of the mountain or wherever, or building, and you could then see out into the courtyard sort of thing. That was quite cool. But Arkham City didn't seem to tick as many boxes for me. It was good, I enjoyed it, but it just seemed a bit more meh, is probably the best way to put it.
Now, there was something we were talking about a week ago. Was it Grand Theft Star Wars?
Oh yeah, It was the most exciting thing I've ever come up with. Or we've come up with, but then also the biggest disappointment because we know it would probably never happen. The idea of that, because we've chatted about Grand Theft Auto, won't we? And how I'm quite a big Star Wars fan, and what if you end up crossing the two over? So you did Grand Theft Star Wars. So then you would end up playing like a low-end, like homeless bounty hunter sort of person who lived on Coruscant. And would end up basically the whole GTA sort of mechanics, but it was in Star Wars. and then you end up building yourself up as a bit of a bounty hunter or something like that, and then you choose to be a Rhodian or human or something like that, and end up working for Jabba the Hutt or stuff like that, and doing missions and stuff and criminal. And it was just, I was so like, oh wow, that'd be amazing, but then so downhearted that something like that would never happen.
Crippling disappointed.
Yeah.
Crippling. I forgot what I was going to say now.
But yeah, it's
quite. If something like that happened, that would be quite interesting, actually.
But it will also never happen.
I
Which
know.
is the sad thing about it.
Sounds like you could come up with some good ideas, like, oh, well, this and this put together. It's like,
They might
yes,
make
it'd
a
be
mod.
great, but it would never happen.
Someone could mod GTA 5.
Well, I guess that's probably the only way we would get something even slightly close to it would be due to a mod. But that even in itself would take
It wouldn't be that good for
3-4 years,
Yeah.
and it would be as buggy as hell.
Mm.
But yeah, so EA, if hopefully at some point they might do something with it. Seems that they've got the full rights to the Star Wars video game franchise, so all being well. I hope they bring back Star Wars 1313 because that did actually look pretty. 1313.
Yeah, until they canned it, yeah.
Kind of. Well, they might still bring it back. They could end up bringing it back. Apparently, it was looking good. The actual footage they already had. So
It was looking good, yeah. Just like Battlefront 3,
yeah.
Front 3, and the dice.
So hopefully it'll be interesting. But anyway, thanks for listening again, guys. Tom, how do we follow you, contact you, speak to you, stalk you?
Well, I don't go on Twitter very much. It's just out. Oh, is there space?
No.
Is there an underscore?
No.
It's just Outcast Reaver with a K at
Twitter?
I can't
No,
Twitter.
it's Twitter at Outcast Reaver.
that then, yeah. YouTube is
The same, is it?
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Outcast Reaver. Actually, someone commented on a video that we did together, thinking that you were actually part of the syndicate on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, "Isn't Tom part of the syndicate?" And I was like, yeah, I think he is. And I was like, "What's the syndicate?" And then I looked, and I was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." So yeah, so they think you're part of the syndicate, which is not, but that's kind of a nice little compliment. So Dan, how can we follow you and stalk you?
If you wish to stalk or follow me, yes. You can, Twitter is at DownT320. YouTube is Rekius, which is REKIA, and then my Twitch is also DownT320 as well.
Cool. And if you'd like to follow AlwayzGamezTV, it's Twitter at AlwayzGamezTV, Facebook AlwayzGamezTV, YouTube AlwayzGamezTV. I also created a new Twitter page for myself, which is the Geek Keeper. Mainly because I keep seeming to tweet on AlwayzGamezTV, my own personal opinions, so I'm going to start separating that up and put my own personal opinions on my own Twitter page, and then have the AlwayzGamezTV page as well. So yeah, so it's at the Gamekeeper.
Oh.
Gamekeeper, sorry, at the Geek Keeper. There we go.
You did like tweet a bit like really big scary TVs and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it was 15 grand TV. Yeah, that. I was considering buying it, but I just thought maybe not. Need to watch the pennies, the pounds can look after themselves. But no, thank you very much for listening, guys, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
See